Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another meal prep / batch cooking video. I create a meal prep video every single week and I upload them on Thursday evenings to hopefully inspire and motivate you guys to meal prep for yourself and your family. I like to meal prep because it saves me money, it saves me time, and it definitely gives me free time back to spend time with my family. I have a large family, so this meal prep will not get me through the entire week, but it will definitely get me through at least a couple of days, if not sometimes half the week. I do end up having to cook little bits here and there, but for the most part, it's definitely a good start to the week. This particular meal prep, I do have 2 brand new recipes, so let's get in the kitchen and let's get started. All right, we are going to start this meal prep off right, and we are going to start off with some keto pancakes. This is a brand new recipe. So in that bowl, I have put in there 1 cup of almond flour, 2 eggs, 1/4 cup of unsweetened almond milk, 2 teaspoons of monk fruit sweetener. That is a couple ounces of cream cheese. I did add a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and a dash of cinnamon. I did add my own little extras to this, but I will leave the original recipe down in the description box below. I just took that 1/4 cup measuring spoon and I measured out each and every single little pancake so that way they were even across the board. Celine decided she wanted to add some Lily's milk chocolate chips to a couple of them. Basically, she's claiming those. And then also, I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. These are not my favorite pancakes. Just watch them, wait till they're bubbly on top, then give them a good flip. My favorite pancakes, I will leave the link to those in the description box below as well. These were not bad, don't get me wrong, but they definitely were not my favorite keto pancakes. But I know I've mentioned this before. I love to experiment with new recipes to see which one I like best. Next up, we're going to be making some breakfast sausages. This is the Tarantino. I get these at Costco. As you saw, they were a little bit frozen, but no biggie. I just put them in the air fryer for just a little while just to defrost them. I cooked them on 400 degrees for about 3 minutes just to defrost them enough so I could pull them apart and kind of separate them a little bit. Then for whatever reason, I forgot to show that part, but once they were separated, I cooked them again for 8 minutes. That's how they turned out. They turned out perfect every single time in the air fryer. So good. We love these sausages, and they are perfect macros. Then next up, we're going to be making some tuna salad. However, this company, Kitchen Mama, reached out to me and asked me to try their can opener. This thing is awesome. It's a battery-operated can opener, and it does take 4 AA batteries, but you literally just put it on the can, you push the button, and it does it by itself. Can it get much easier than that? And then the way that it cuts it to where it's kind of on the outside of it, so it doesn't cut you. It's pretty darn amazing. I'm not affiliated or anything. However, I will have a link to this cool little creation if you want to check it out in the description box below. So as you see, the tops to those tuna cans just pop right off. Super simple, easy to use. But I'm going to take 4 cans of tuna, toss it in that bowl. Of course, my daughter's helping me out because she's such an amazing kid. And we are going to add a little squirt of mustard. Use whatever mustard you want. 1/2 cup of sour cream. 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. That's not exactly the mayonnaise that I like to use. I like to use the Chosen Foods one that I get from Costco, but I was out, so it is what it is. Then I cut up, or my daughter cut up, I should say, 1 jalapeno. We did take the veins and the seeds out of that. But tuna salad with jalapeno is so good. Another thing too is if you put egg, like boiled eggs in the tuna salad. I didn't have any and I was being lazy, but that's really good too. We did add some salt and pepper in there, gave that a good mix, and that is ready to go for celery, wraps, whatever. Next on the list, we are making ourselves some keto bread rolls. I have been craving bread like nobody's business. I don't know what my deal is, but I have been. We are going to measure everything out in grams, so I have my handy dandy food scale out. The first thing we're going to measure out is the almond flour. We are going to put in that bowl 150 grams of almond flour, and then 30 grams of coconut flour. Remember to reset your scale after every single thing that you weigh. So after the almond flour, reset your scale. After the coconut flour, reset your scale. And then I'm going to go in with some psyllium husk. I get that on Amazon. It is really not that expensive for what little bit you use. And you are going to only use 37 grams of that. We're going to go in with a pinch of salt, or a half a teaspoon of salt. I just do a little pinch, and then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I like to go in with a whisk and kind of whisk all that up, because if you whisk it, it gets the clumps out. Just a little tip there. And then we're going to go in with the wet ingredients. We are going to go in with 2 teaspoons of apple cider vinegar, as well as, it says 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I am really liking avocado oil a lot better than the olive oil. Olive oil to me has a lot stronger taste, so I did use avocado oil. We're just going to stir that up with a spoon, and then after it gets a little bit tough to stir with a spoon, we're going to go in with our hands, and we are going to knead that dough for a good couple of minutes. Once we are done kneading that dough, we are going to basically make a big old dough ball out of it, and we're going to let the dough ball set for 10 minutes. Let all those different flours, let the water absorb all of that. Then I go in with a large knife. I actually wet the knife with water, and we are going to cut it in half and then cut each one of those halves into thirds. Just because this does make 6 servings. 1 serving obviously is 1 roll. Then you're just going to manipulate it with your hands and turn it into a dinner roll. You don't need to worry about separating them on the pan or anything too much, because they really don't spread out. Then I just went ahead and brushed a little bit of water. You could do butter or whatever you want at the top of those rolls, and I added some sesame seeds to the top. Then I preheated my oven at 375, baked them on the bottom rack for 30 minutes, and then I switched them up to the top rack for another 10 to 15 minutes. They came out perfect. They were moist. I personally love these dinner rolls. I love her breads. Some people love it, some people hate it. So just being honest there. Definitely give it a try. This is a new recipe. This is a little bit different than her bread recipe, but it'll be in the description box if you want to try it. Next up, we are going to be making a whole chicken. This is air fryer whole chicken. The air fryer makes the best whole chickens. So I am just spreading some avocado oil all over the chicken, and then I flip the chicken over, and I do the same exact thing on the other side before I add the seasonings. However, I do want to mention that when you go to cook your whole chicken, I start out cooking the whole chicken breast side down, and then when I flip it back up, then it's breast side up. But again, I soaked the whole thing in avocado oil to keep it moist, and then I just went in with a little garlic salt. We like garlic salt, and to me it just gives it all the flavor that it really needs on the skin. Flipped it over. I seasoned both sides of the chicken, and then once it was done, I put it in the air fryer. This is a big chicken. This is a chicken that you get from Costco. So I set the temperature at 400 degrees, and I bake it on each side for 35 minutes. If it's a smaller chicken, you're probably going to want to bake it only maybe 30 minutes on each side, but this one is extra large. So 35 minutes on each side, flip it over, and I always do the breast side up last. But that is how it turns out. I love how the skin turns out super crispy, but the inside is so moist and delicious, because it almost looks like from the outside that it's too done. It is not. The inside is perfect, juicy, and so good. And the skin just has that crispiness, almost like fried chicken. It is absolutely incredible. Next up, we're going to be making some pork shoulder blade steak. This is so good, and when you cook it in the electric skillet like I'm going to, it stays so tender and so moist. And all that fat on there, I did clean it up, I washed them, and the whole 9 yards, because I always like to clean my meats before I cook them. But once you wash them and they're ready to go, look at all that yummy fat and all that goodness on there. The macros on there are so good. I just went in with some of that mesquite seasoning, and I got my electric skillet nice and hot. Put those puppies on there. You can't hear it, but they're sizzling, baby. They're sizzling. And then my daughter, like always, again, is helping me out. She is spreading that mesquite seasoning on there. That mesquite seasoning does have a little bit of sugar and stuff in it, but a lot of your seasonings really do. It's so minimal that it really isn't going to make that big of a difference, but the flavor is delicious. Mesquite seasoning is so good. It's so good on steak as well. It's really good on anything, to be honest with you. But just let them cook, flip them, let them brown a little bit, and those were superb. Last but definitely not least, we are going to be making some cheesy cauliflower rice. I am cheating and I'm using the Costco bagged cauliflower rice. I just threw those in the microwave. They were already steamed a little bit. That was about 2 tablespoons of Kerrygold butter. I threw both those bags of cauliflower rice in that skillet and just kind of let that saute up together nicely in that rice. I did go in with seasonings, kept it plain and simple, guys. Plain and simple sometimes is so much better. I went in with some Himalayan salt and some pepper. And then I do really like to add some heavy whipping cream. So I did add, that was around 1/4 a cup of heavy whipping cream. That's 2 ounces or around cream cheese. And then I also definitely went in with some cheese. I did like to kind of get that cream cheese melted down just a little bit before I added the cheese though. But I did go back in and I added around 1 cup of cheese. You can use whatever cheese your little heart desires. That is the end result. It is delicious and cheesy and oh so good. My family loves that. What would be even better if we would have put bacon in there, but I didn't have any bacon on hand, so that will have to do. All right, y'all, so that concludes this week's meal prep. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it gave you some ideas, and like I said, just some inspiration and motivation to get in the kitchen and start cooking for yourself and your family, just to have a little bit of preparation to get your week started on the right track. So if you guys are loving these meal preps, if you guys could do me a favor and give this meal prep a huge thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, definitely, what are you waiting for? Go down there, click the subscribe button, and don't forget to tap that bell so you can get notified when I upload another video. As always, I'm going to be praying for you, your family, and your country. Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. And don't forget to go out there and make today even better than yesterday. And I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye. On my own, but I don't know why you hit the road, but you don't realize I won't look back when you're around. I won't think twice when